Welcome to the ACC Panic Room alongside Lauren Brownlow. I'm Joe Ovies. I wasn't expecting North Carolina to completely dominate and blow Marquette out in this
Yeah.
8-9 game. I was not expecting one of the largest margins of victory ever in the NCAA tournament. I was expecting North Carolina to win, but not like that today, Lauren.
Yeah, it felt like that was like a lot of demons being exercised, kind of like just whether it was Marquette blowing them out in the Smith Center, or it's funny. Hubert Davis mentioned that, and he mentioned I heard in pregame because I was listening on the radio in pregame, and he was saying that like he has history with Marquette, like they beat his uncle in the 1977 title game, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, so Carolina has another coach that holds a grudge. At least it's not against a team in the league, I suppose.
Hey, look, you learn from the best, right?
Yeah, no, but I mean, look, I think that this needs to be said because, like, when it comes to Duke or Carolina, there's always like a yeah, but. And I think it's really important that we say, like, what they did was very impressive. Like, what
Yes.
they've done the last month is very impressive. And by the way, the 1 month anniversary of the pit loss was yesterday. So a
Hmm.
month to the day,
Well,
excluding it. Like, look at what they've done the last month. Like, they have the same number of wins in the last month over top 100 KenPom teams than they do the first, like, whatever chunk of the season. Like, they
mhm.
have turned it on. They are now, like, when's the last time they blew out a good team like that? I mean, Marquette's
Yeah.
not amazing. I understand that. I'm not saying that to, like, diminish what Carolina did. I'm saying that because I'm trying to, like, head off some of that, yeah, but that happens with Carolina and Duke. I mean, look what they've done and look where they were at. I mean, I just think it's impressive and that we should highlight and, like, credit to Hubert Davis, credit to
No,
the guys
Lauren.
on the team. Like,
No,
I'm just
it's
saying.
not. That's not what people are here to do. People are here to expose tweets from 4 weeks ago.
No, it's fine. I mean,
It's
I made
fine.
them. It's whatever.
Yeah, I mean, right.
Please,
Shout out to Craig, who's been a long time follower. With
please,
in
no
honor
one
of
find my
UNC.
Georgia State tweet like
Well,
from 2 days ago.
true. In honor of UNC winning the most lopsided 8-9 game in NCAA tournament history, let's flash back to how this team was being discussed 4 weeks ago. In fairness of what Craig is pointing out, it's not necessarily how. In that clip that he pointed back on what was it, on February 18th.
Yeah, and he's
That's
probably trying to highlight the Pitt game was like a low point too. Like,
No, the pit game was a low point,
yeah,
and when we were talking about North Carolina back a month ago, and after that, the way they got blown out by Pitt, and you've got Jason Capel, the assistant, Jeff Capel's brother, saying this team is pretty.
hey, you
They
know
don't
what?
they don't
Maybe
want this.
they should be sending a thank you letter to him
Hey, I've
because
I've I've said this. I think what we come to find out is that Jason Capel really is about the family. Maybe
I
everybody
mean
does owe Jason Capel an apology because he knew exactly what needed to be said to motivate this team. So, you know,
Marquette tried to start with them today.
right, and they took it right to him. And it's actually, it goes back to what you were saying about Hubert Davis in the comments leading up to the game.
Yeah,
He almost had like a Dan Campbell, Detroit Lion head coach esque thing where like, we got to punch them first. We can't just get knocked back. I mean,
he was
he was
talking
this.
about it after the game, like because that's what he said he told his players after that confrontation. Like he was just like he reminded them, he reiterated that to them,
Yep.
like
He
we
was
don't
this
back
close.
down,
He
and
was
they
this
didn't.
close to talking about biting kneecaps off, like Dan Campbell, but he didn't do that. He didn't do that.
Mercifully, yeah.
No, but to wrap the point on 4 weeks ago, you know, there had been nothing that North Carolina had done, including in that game to Pitt, that loss to Pitt, that would indicate to you or anybody really that they
Right.
were going to be able to get it together. Okay.
Yeah, like in a North Carolina sense, right? Because
Yes, in
like
a North
that's the
Carolina
thing.
sense.
Like, because the thing is too, before that Pitt game, they had actually strung together some wins. They weren't always the
Mhm.
prettiest, but you're like, okay, I think they're getting it together. And
But
then they
let's
get,
remember,
yeah,
let's be fair, Lauren. Yes, they had won some games, but even until that point, who had
yeah,
they really beaten? That's why
right.
all eyes were on the Virginia Tech game, which happened after that Pitt loss. Now, this Carolina team has consistently done a good job of bouncing back after that, which then got us to the Duke game, which I think the Duke game and the way they handled themselves and took it to the Blue Devils in that setting really was the crystallization of the job that Hubert Davis has done in this last month and a half, where the Pitt game is one of two things. It's either the aberration of the last month and a half, or it's the inflection point to what you were saying and how Hubert Davis has been talking about it. Do not let that happen again. They ran out of steam against a hot Virginia Tech team that ended up winning the ACC tournament.
That was probably one of their more excusable losses.
Yes,
this year.
Yes, but they have not had a game like that against Pitt. And again, that's a credit to Hubert Davis, who, if we're gonna play the game of let's go back and find some old tweets, right? 100%. If you want to play that game, and I'm perfectly okay playing that game when it comes to North Carolina, because we can go all the way back to some of those blowouts where you and I spent a lot of panic rooms talking about people needing to chill the hell out with Hubert Davis, and let's go see where this season goes. And now they're here. Now, they could fall on their face against Baylor for all we know, but let's give credit where credit is due. Hubert's done a really good job of getting this team to finally start playing together and maximize their strengths at this point.
I won't lie to you. I thought this season was already done.
Oh, I'm with you. You're not alone. You're not alone.
That's partly why I'm so impressed, because I wasn't going to make any sweeping judgments of Hubert after this year. We don't know if he's in over his head. We didn't know if he was in over his head or not, right? Like, we just were like, we don't know yet. It's too soon to tell, but like, you certainly can't judge it because of XYZ reason, right? Like, it had been trending this way, yada, yada, yada. And then, that's the thing. He just proved everybody wrong. It's great. I mean, I wasn't expecting. I thought he was going to have to wait until next year, right? Like, we talked about that. Like, wait until he can get some of his own guys in there, really kind of get his culture in there, or the way he wants to do things, whatever you want to say it. Sorry, Julio, if you heard me, I'll put a quarter in the culture jar. But I mean, that's the thing. Like, to do it this season with that loss coming when it did, I mean, I'm honestly I'm blown away. I didn't think that I had Carolina winning this game, but only because it made sense on paper. But I even wrote in my GIF previews, I'm like, just because it makes sense on paper doesn't mean Carolina's going to do it.
Yeah. Now, we talked to C.L. Brown from the News and Observer earlier today on the show. Giglio and I did. And I did ask him whether or not this team was still a byproduct of as Caleb Love goes, so do the Tar Heels. I think it's not, and he had a good game today. Yeah. But I do think that this team has been able to get back to what I said earlier about Hubert Davis, finding their strengths and coming together. Yes. In that they can overcome a Caleb Love moment or whatever it is, because Brady Manick has really grown into the role. Not that he's a great defender, but he's got an effort level that, as Steve Logan used to say when he did radio with us, a run over slowly type thing going on. RJ Davis has been playing great too. And if Leaky Black continues to shut down the other team's best players and limit their scoring, then that's really going to help Carolina going forward. Because isn't this Baylor game that they got coming up next? It's not like this Baylor team is whole and complete, right? So you can put Leaky Black on their best player, and I'm going to like a team's chances when you got a guy getting locked down.
Yeah, the problem for Baylor is there's so many. And then also they defend at such a high level that it's hard. I mean, defense is you might not hit shots every night, but as long as you bring the same defensive energy most nights, you're probably going to win more often than you're not. I think that's kind of where Baylor more or less is. And, that's the thing. Does Carolina have the pieces that if they play well can beat this kind of team? Of course they do. But I think it's just going to take a lot. Now, if they keep playing like this, cool. I hope for them a day is enough off, and they did they played the bench, you could do that when you win by 32. So they played the bench, Puff Johnson had double digits off the bench. They got some rest for some guys. So hopefully for them, a day is enough. Because Marquette was much deeper than them, and
they finally got over on Shaka Smart.
Yeah, first win over Shaka Smart.
All right, when Shaka Smart's been at Texas.
Can we give him a half win over Texas for that? I feel what's
you get a half on that? You know what? I'll give it that. I think we can close the panic room on this. Let's check in, see how Roy Williams is doing on his tour. I don't know. The no context college basketball page got him looking like, as I joked, when that Delta 8 hits, Lauren.
Okay. Wow.
Just kind of zoned out, right?
I need to not think about trying to explain what that is to Roy Williams. I don't even want to try to think about that. Really, can you imagine? Like,
trying to explain. What? He's like, hey, Roy, when you've been driving around, have you noticed those specialty shops that have popped up at various places, even on Franklin Street?
No, you're already gone on too long. You've lost him. You've lost him. No, you could mean that with like when they only have Pepsi instead of Coke or something, because that's good for Roy.
Yeah, that would work too.
He does look like someone just told him he couldn't have a good old Coca-Cola, or I guess
my Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the ACC Panic Room. We'll check in after Duke does their stuff tomorrow, and obviously after the Carolina-Baylor game.
I'll be coming to you live, hopefully, from
I know. You'll be out in Greenville, South Carolina. Looking forward to that. All right, we'll see you all later in the weekend.